Welcome to the deep dive. So, you asked us to take a closer look at a recent, very positive review of Louisa May Alcott's Little Women.
Hmm.
And it's a great choice, actually. Helps us explore why this book, well, why it still connects with so many people today.
Definitely.
Our mission really is to unpack what this specific review finds so compelling, maybe go a bit deeper than the surface level appeal.
Yeah, it's absolutely a timeless classic. And this review gives it, what, 5 stars? A perfect score.
5 out of 5, yeah.
And it really praises its impact, both when it came out and, its relevance now. The reviewer noted something interesting.
Oh, yeah.
Beyond just the sentimentality, it highlighted how the book feels so rooted in its time, and also incredibly modern somehow.
Okay, so let's dive in there. The review grounds us first in the history, right?
Right.
Little Women was published in 2 parts, 1868 and 69, just after the American Civil War.
A really specific context.
And it's not pure fiction, is it? The review mentions it's semi-autobiographical.
Exactly. Drawn from Alcott's own life experiences, which the review argues is part of its power.
How so? What does the review say about that context making it powerful?
Well, the reviewer suggests Alcott's genius wasn't just, like, telling a realistic family story. It was how she wove these moral lessons into their daily lives, their struggles.
Okay. Not just stating them outright.
Precisely. It praises the emotional depth, the realistic family stuff. The reviewer points out how the sisters' flaws, think Amy's vanity or Joe's temper, they're not just quirks.
Right.
They're vehicles for exploring these deeper moral questions, making their growth feel, earned, relatable, not just handed down.
And the absolute heart of that has to be the March sisters themselves, Meg, Joe, Beth, and Amy. The review seems to put them front and center.
Oh, absolutely. The emotional core. The review really spends time on each one, showing how their differences drive the story forward.
So walk us through how the review portrays each sister, what makes them so key.
Okay, so Meg, the eldest. She's seen as, responsible, elegant. Her desire is more for that domestic comfort, kind of the traditional path.
Right.
Then you have Joe. Big contrast. The review calls her tomboyish, ambitious, the writer, always pushing against what society expected of women then. She's really the emotional center for a lot of readers, I think the review implies.
Yeah, definitely the most iconic, maybe.
Possibly. And Beth, she's portrayed as the shy, selfless one. Pure kindness, sacrifice, like a quiet moral compass in the family.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, Amy, the youngest. Artistic, charming, yeah, a bit vain at first. But the review really emphasizes her growth, her maturation. She finds her own path to self-discovery, too.
That's a great summary of how the review sees the sisters. But it's not just them, is it? The review talks about the supporting cast, too.
That's a really important point the review makes, yes. Characters like Marmee, their mom, so wise and loving, and Laurie, the neighbor.
Her charming neighbor, yeah.
Right, and Professor Bear later on. They add these crucial layers. The review stresses how their interactions are catalysts for the sisters' growth. They offer wisdom, love, different viewpoints. It really enriches the whole picture.
Okay.
And all those relationships, especially between the sisters, but also with the others, they power the book's main themes. The review digs into how Alcott weaves these themes through everyone's journey, makes it feel very personal.
So what are those core themes the review highlights? Family must be central.
Absolutely central. At its heart, it's seen as this powerful celebration of family love, unity, sacrifice, how they face things, together.
And it's also a coming-of-age story, right, for all of them?
Exactly. The review focuses heavily on that. Each sister's transformation shaped by love, loss, finding their ambitions, discovering who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And the review notes how Alcott makes these journeys feel real by showing their internal struggles, the external pressures they face growing up. It touches on that universal question, doesn't it? How much do we change? How much do we stay true to ourselves?
Yeah, that's relatable. Now, here's something really interesting the review talks about. Gender roles and feminism, specifically Joe.
Yes. The review really emphasizes Joe's resistance to what was expected of women then, her drive to be a writer.
It points out she puts her creative goals above marriage and domestic life, at least for a long time, which is pretty radical back then.
Truly radical, yeah.
Does the review suggest that edge still feels radical today, or have things moved on too much?
That's a great question. The review sort of argues that while the specifics might have changed, the spirit of Joe's self-determination, that absolutely still resonates.
Okay.
It's not just that she becomes a writer, it's her whole internal conflict, society's expectations versus her own drive. That feels timeless.
Makes sense.
And then there's poverty and class. The review highlights how the novel deals with their economic hardship, but with grace, always stressing things like charity, hard work, integrity.
Right.
Alcott uses the March family's own situation to show these virtues in action, so it feels natural, not like a lecture.
Okay, let's shift to Alcott's writing style. The review calls it warm, conversational, but also, quote, 19th century moralistic. What does that mean exactly, and how does it still work for us now?
Well, the review points out that Alcott definitely includes the values of her time, piety, domesticity, virtue, things that might feel a bit dated now.
Sure.
But, and this is key according to the review, she makes them accessible. She weaves them into the girl's choices or dilemmas, not just laying down roles.
So it's shown, not just told.
Exactly. The reviewer seemed really struck by how chapters often end with a subtle lesson, but, and this is crucial, never preachy.
Ah, okay. That's a fine line to walk.
It is, and the review credits Alcott's skill with dialogue, her character-driven storytelling. That's what keeps you emotionally invested. You feel like you're right there with them, figuring things out.
Which brings us to the big question. Why has this book lasted? What makes it, as the review suggests, stand the test of time? It's had so many adaptations.
Yeah, the cultural impact is huge, and the review definitely covers that. It's not just the movies and plays, though.
No.
The reviewer positions Little Women as, like, a foundational feminist text for many people.
Because of Joe.
Largely because of Joe, yes. Creating a heroine who prioritized her own mind, her creativity, over the expected path for women, that was groundbreaking. And that progressive view on female independence, the review argues, still hits hard today.
So, wrapping up the review's main points, it sees Little Women as much more than just a story about sisters growing up.
Right. It's framed as this really heartwarming story about growth, dealing with love and loss, chasing your dreams.
And the core message the reviewer pulls out, being good and true to yourself, still powerful.
As potent now as it was over 150 years ago, according to this review.
So, based on this deep dive into the review, who is this book really for? It seems like fans of classics, obviously.
Yeah, classic literature fans, definitely. People who like strong, complex female characters.
Historical fiction fans who want that emotional depth.
And the review strongly suggests young adults, too. Anyone navigating those big life transitions. The journeys are just so relatable.
Okay. So, maybe a final thought for our listeners to chew on, building on all this.
Well, thinking about the March sisters and how they grew and changed, but also held on to core parts of themselves, maybe it raises a question for you listening. In our own constantly changing world, what are the essential parts of ourselves that we should strive to hold on to? Just like the March sisters learned to do.